Here are the luckiest lottery winners who turned their wildest dreams into reality. Find out the craziest story of a man who literally died and came back to life before winning it big. Twice. 15. Bill Morgan. Besides being the luckiest guy on earth, one thing Bill Morgan definitely knows about is defying death. Seriously, the man was clinically dead for 14 minutes after a work-related accident in Australia. Doctors thought he'd have permanent brain damage, but Bill proved them all wrong by waking up from his coma with zero lasting injuries. It was the kind of comeback you only see in the movies. But okay, what did he do after returning from the other side? He decided to test his luck on a scratch-off ticket to celebrate his second chance at life. Boom! He won a brand new car worth $24,000. Local media heard about his mind-blowing survival and his lucky win, so they asked him to reenact the scratch-off moment on camera. And guess what? Bill scratched another ticket on live TV and won $250,000 right there. Now that's a guy who knows how to cheat fate and the lottery all in one go. 14. Calvin and Zadara Spencer. Did you know there's a power couple who basically treat the lottery like their own personal ATM? Calvin and Zatara Spencer from Virginia hit a $1 million Powerball jackpot in March 2014. Most people would chill after that. Not them. The very next day, they bought a scratch-off ticket and snagged another $1 million prize. Then a few weeks later, Calvin scooped up $50,000 from a pick 4 draw. Talk about unstoppable. People started treating the Spencers like local celebrities, wondering if they had otherworldly powers. But they're just a couple who know that if luck is on your side, you keep playing. 13. James Wilson. James Wilson basically showed us why you always need to double-check your tickets. The UK resident tossed a lottery ticket in his wallet and let it collect dust for 6 months. When he finally cleaned out his wallet, he almost threw the ticket away, thinking it was worthless. Something told him to check the numbers. Surprise, surprise, it was a £51,000 winner, and the deadline to claim was less than 24 hours away. He sprinted to the lottery office just in time. Moral of the story? Don't let your fortune rot in the back of your wallet with old receipts. Do us a quick favor and hit that like button. 12. Christopher Kalin. Some people say lightning never strikes the same spot twice, but for Chicago and Christopher Kalin, it struck 3 times. In 2014, Christopher snagged $25,000 from an instant scratch-off ticket. That same night, feeling invincible, he bought another ticket and won $1,000 more. That's an awesome one-day haul, right? But it gets better. Just a few weeks later, Christopher decided to buy another scratch-off from the same downtown newsstand. He initially thought he'd nailed another $25,000 prize. Then he looked closer and realized it was actually $250,000. Within a month, Christopher racked up a total of $276,000 from the same game. Some guys have all the luck. 11. Derek Ladner. Derek Ladner from Cornwall, UK, basically proved that forgetfulness can sometimes be a blessing. He was one of 5 winners who matched all 6 numbers on a £2.4 million lottery jackpot. Derek's share was £479,000, pretty sweet for a day's work of matching numbers. But guess what happened a week later? Derek realized he had purchased 2 tickets with the exact same numbers. The second ticket had also won £479,000, effectively doubling his total jackpot to nearly £1 million. Who else can say they profited from forgetting they bought a second ticket? 10. Mary Wallens. 86-year-old grandmother Mary Wallens from Toronto decided to trust a dream, and it paid off big time. She had a vivid dream of holding a lottery ticket with winning numbers and a massive check. She woke up, wrote the numbers down, and actually bought 2 tickets with that exact combination. When the numbers were announced, her dream came true not once but twice. She ended up splitting a $24 million jackpot with another winner, but because she had 2 tickets, she took home 2/3 of the pot, $16 million. What's more incredible than literally dreaming your way into millionaire status? 9. Richard Lustig. If you've ever tried to crack the lottery, then you've probably heard of Richard Lustig. This Florida man claimed 7 lottery wins over 2 decades. He put his strategy in a book called Learn How to Increase Your Chances of Winning the Lottery. People say it's all about luck, but Richard recommended a methodical approach. Don't use quick picks. Stick to your set of numbers. Budget your spending. His total haul was nearly $1 million, which is a pretty sweet bankroll for a guy who says the lottery isn't just chance, but a calculated investment. Whether you believe his system or not, you gotta admit, 7 wins is wild. 8. Joan Ginther. Joan Ginther is basically the quiet genius of the lottery world. She's won the lottery 28 times, totaling tens of millions of dollars. Her first win was $5.4 million in 1993, followed by a string of insane scratch-off jackpots, like $2 million in 2006, $3 million in 2008, and $10 million in 2010. She's notoriously private, which only fuels the rumor mill because she holds a PhD in statistics from Stanford. Some think she cracked some lottery code. She also supposedly shelled out $3 million on over 100,000 scratch-off tickets. Whatever the case, if anyone out there can call themselves the luckiest person alive, it's probably Joan Ginther. 7. Mavis Wanchik. Speaking of giant sums, Mavis Wanchik holds the record for one of the largest single-ticket lottery wins in U.S. history. In 2017, she won a $758 million Powerball jackpot. She immediately quit her job at a hospital, joking that she just wanted to go home and sleep in. Needless to say, her life changed overnight. But Mavis kept things surprisingly low-key, stressing she planned to spend more time with her family. She also urged future winners to get a solid lawyer and a good financial planner, words to live by if you ever find yourself holding a winning ticket worth hundreds of millions. 6. John and Lisa Robinson. Remember that record-breaking $1.5 billion Powerball jackpot from January 2016? John and Lisa Robinson were one of the 3 lucky families to split that mother load. They opted for the lump sum of around $327 million before taxes. But instead of fleeing to a secret island, they did the unthinkable. They went on TV the same day to show their faces and say, "Yep, we're winners." They insisted on living their life normally. Sure, they paid off their mortgage and helped out family members, but they also returned to work for a while to maintain a semblance of normalcy. 5. Andrew Jack Whitaker. Andrew Whitaker is both lucky and a cautionary tale. In 2002, he took home a then-record $314 million Powerball jackpot. At first, his story was the stuff of dreams. He gave millions to churches, charities, and people in need. He was a local hero. But Whitaker's life quickly spiraled with lawsuits, theft, and personal tragedy. He famously carried around $545,000 in a briefcase, which got stolen. By his own admission, the win became a curse. Let's just say Andrew's story proves that as exciting as a giant jackpot is, money can't solve every problem, and might even create new ones. 4. Cynthia Stafford. Imagine this. You tell everyone you're going to win $112 million, you visualize it, and then it actually happens. That's Cynthia Stafford in a nutshell. In 2007, she was raising her brother's 5 children in a tight financial spot. She started meditating and manifesting a big win every day. Lo and behold, she won $112 million in the California Mega Millions. Instead of just living the high life, Cynthia set up a trust for her family's education and launched a film production company called Queen Nefertari Productions. Who says positive thinking can't pay off? 3. Stefan Mandel. If anyone has cracked the lottery mathematically, it's Stefan Mandel. This Romanian-Australian economist used his specialized number-wheeling method to win 14 lotteries across the globe. His formula was so effective that at one point he would round up investors, buy every combination in smaller lotteries, and rake in guaranteed profit. Of course, lottery organizations weren't too thrilled. Many changed their rules because of him. But hey, he's the guy who turned the lottery into a business model. If you've got the skills and the backers, apparently you can outsmart the system. 2. Manuel Franco. In 2019, the world met Manuel Franco, a 24-year-old from Wisconsin who snagged a $768.4 million Powerball jackpot. When he realized he'd won, he said his heart felt like it was about to explode. He'd bought just $10 worth of tickets that day. Talk about the best ROI imaginable. Manuel stepped forward, claiming he wanted to help out his family and maybe do some good with his winnings. He also recommended future winners do two things right away: sign the back of the ticket and get professional help. The moral of the story? $10 in a dream can literally change everything overnight. 1. Spain's El Gordo. And finally, we've got to talk about one of the biggest lottery events on the planet. Spain's El Gordo, the fat one. Sure, it's not a single winner's story, but this annual Christmas lottery has the largest total payout of any lottery in the world, handing out over 2.3 billion euros in prizes. The best part? The lottery is so huge and so ingrained in Spanish culture, families, friends, and even entire towns pool their money to buy tickets. When El Gordo hits, it often makes hundreds of ordinary people wealthier overnight. So if you're ever in Spain around Christmas, maybe buy a share. You never know if you'll be part of the next massive group of winners. What's next? Whether it's random fate, a crazy dream, a bit of math magic, or simply scratching off the right ticket at the right time, these stories show us that anyone can become an overnight sensation. One second you're broke, and the next you could be a multimillionaire. Just don't forget that with great wealth can come great responsibility, and maybe a boatload of drama. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories that might just inspire you to check that old ticket tucked away in your wallet. Who knows? Your life-changing moment might be just one scratch away. Here's what's next. What would you do if you suddenly stumbled upon unimaginable wealth? For some, it's a gateway to luxury and indulgence, but for these smart lottery winners, it became an opportunity to rewrite their destinies and impact countless lives along the way. From single moms transforming their windfalls into philanthropic powerhouses to ranchers staying true to their roots, each story is a testament to resilience, vision, and the incredible potential of using fortune wisely. Stick around to discover how these winners didn't just hit the jackpot, they redefined what it means to win big, turning chance into lasting change. In 2018, Loren West, a single mom from Iowa, won $343 million in the Powerball jackpot, a life-changing amount by any standard. But instead of focusing on personal indulgences, she quickly turned her attention to philanthropy, making an immediate impact with her newfound wealth. One of Loren's first actions was to donate $500,000 to the Travis Mills Foundation, an organization dedicated to supporting wounded veterans. This wasn't just a one-time act of generosity, it was the beginning of a larger mission. Loren went on to establish her own charity, the Callum Foundation, named after her late grandson. The foundation supports a wide range of causes, including education, animal welfare, and healthcare. Before her win, Loren had worked at an insurance company while raising 3 children on her own. The sudden wealth could have led her down a path of extravagance, but she remained focused on her values. Her commitment to giving back has not only changed her life, but has also transformed countless others. Loren's story is a powerful reminder that wealth, when coupled with purpose, can create a ripple effect of positive change far beyond the individual. While Loren West used her fortune to change lives, our next winner's story proves that even a modest prize can be a stepping stone to lifelong success. Meet Robert Salo, a teenager whose dreams took flight with a weekly windfall. At just 18 years old, Robert Salo's life took a dramatic turn when he won $1,000 a week for life on a scratch-off ticket. While this wasn't the kind of win that makes headlines, it was enough to change Robert's life forever, especially since he used it wisely. Robert had always dreamed of becoming an electrical engineer, but his family's financial struggles made it seem like an impossible goal. With his lottery winnings providing a steady stream of income, he could afford to focus on his education without the burden of financial stress. The money covered his tuition, books, and living expenses, allowing him to attend college and pursue his dream career. For Robert, the win wasn't about luxury or excess. It was about opportunity. By the time he graduated, he had the skills and qualifications to build a successful career, thanks to his smart choices. Today, Robert's story is a testament to the power of using financial windfalls to invest in oneself. His steady, disciplined approach proves that even modest lottery winnings can create a lifetime of opportunity when paired with determination and focus. Robert's disciplined choices set him up for success. But what happens when life throws you a massive jackpot right when you're at your lowest? Jason Fry knows this story all too well. Jason Fry's story is one of resilience and redemption. Before winning $47 million just days before Christmas, Jason was juggling 3 jobs, pouring concrete, digging wells, and bartending, just to make ends meet. With a second baby on the way and mounting financial pressure, Jason was on the brink of losing his home. Then, one fateful lottery ticket changed everything. At first, Jason couldn't resist the temptation to splurge. He bought a boat, a motorcycle, a Mustang, and a house. But it didn't take long for him to realize that his newfound wealth needed to be managed wisely if it was going to last. Jason shifted gears, investing in a golf driving range that now generates around $300,000 a year. He also purchased a Batteries Plus franchise in Fort Myers, Florida, and expanded his operations to include 3 additional stores. These ventures have become lucrative, providing Jason with a steady income and financial security. Today, Jason is not only a lottery winner, but also a successful entrepreneur. His story serves as a reminder that even after a rocky start, it's never too late to make smart financial decisions and build a brighter future. Jason's journey from financial hardship to entrepreneurial success is inspiring, but Diana Sampson's savvy investments remind us how even a modest win can lay the foundation for generational wealth. Diana Sampson was working as a visiting barber to support her 2 children when her life took an extraordinary turn. She won $2 million in the lottery, and instead of splurging, she made a series of savvy investments that would change her family's future forever. Diana started by investing in a lingerie business, which quickly became profitable. She didn't stop there. She also opened a restaurant that gained popularity in her local community. Both ventures provided steady income streams, allowing Diana to grow her wealth beyond her initial winnings. In addition to her businesses, Diana purchased several properties, including homes abroad, which she now leases out for additional income. These investments have allowed her to create a comfortable and stable lifestyle for her family. Despite her newfound wealth, Diana has remained humble and hardworking. She continues to manage her investments with care, ensuring that her fortune benefits her children and future generations. Diana's story is a powerful example of how even a modest lottery win can lead to lasting success with the right mindset and smart financial decisions. Diana built her empire with careful planning, but Brian and Mary Losi proved that sometimes winning the lottery can be a blessing for an entire community. Brian and Mary Losi's $22 million Powerball win was not just a windfall for them, it became a blessing for their entire community. When they hit the jackpot, they could have easily retired to a life of luxury. Instead, the Losis chose to use their winnings to make a lasting difference in their hometown of Bondurant, Iowa. Their first major act of generosity was paying off their church's mortgage, an act that lifted a significant financial burden from their congregation. But they didn't stop there. The Losis donated $3 million to fund a new high school stadium, providing a much-needed upgrade for local students. One of their most impactful contributions was building a $4.5 million grocery store in a town where such a facility was sorely needed. This move not only improved access to food for residents, but also created jobs and boosted the local economy. Beyond these large-scale projects, Brian and Mary established a charitable foundation to support education, healthcare, and community development. Their generosity earned them immense respect from their neighbors, turning them into local heroes. Their story is a shining example of how lottery winnings can be used to uplift an entire community. The Losis turned their windfall into a community-wide triumph, but Paul and Sue Rosenau's story takes a deeply personal turn, showing how loss can inspire a purpose-driven fortune. Paul and Sue Rosenau's story is a heartwarming example of how a lottery win can bring meaning to even the most painful experiences. In 2005, 5 years after losing their 2-year-old granddaughter Michaela to Crab disease, a rare and devastating genetic condition, the couple's lives took an unexpected turn. Paul purchased a Powerball ticket on a whim, not realizing it would be worth $88 million. Their win could have easily led to indulgence in luxury homes or flashy cars, but for Paul and Sue, their focus was clear. They wanted to honor Michaela's memory. They established the Legacy of Angels Foundation, which funds research and treatment for Krabbe disease and other genetic disorders. Although they treated themselves to modest family vacations, such as trips to Disneyland and Hawaii, the bulk of their winnings went toward their mission. Thanks to their foundation, significant progress has been made in understanding and treating Krabbe disease, offering hope to countless families. The Rosenows chose to live humbly, valuing purpose over excess. Their story demonstrates how even a windfall of unimaginable wealth can be used for something profoundly meaningful, turning personal tragedy into a legacy of hope and change. The Rosenows turned tragedy into hope, but Neil Wanless reminds us how staying true to one's roots can lead to a fulfilling life, even with millions in the bank. In 2009, Neil Wanless was a struggling rancher living in a small trailer on his family's repossessed property in South Dakota. At just 23 years old, Neil was working tirelessly to support his family, but money was always tight. That all changed when he won a $232 million Powerball jackpot. Neil could have easily abandoned ranching for a life of luxury, but his passion for the land kept him grounded. One of his first moves was purchasing a 23-square-mile ranch for $9.9 million. The expansive property allowed Neil to continue his work as a rancher, but on a much larger scale. Despite his massive win, Neil kept a low profile and focused on his work. He invested in a new home but avoided flashy cars or extravagant purchases. In 2020, he sold his ranch to spend more time with his wife in British Columbia and Arizona, but he remains one of the wealthiest individuals in South Dakota. Neil's story is a testament to staying true to one's roots. His disciplined approach to managing his wealth has allowed him to preserve his fortune while continuing to live a life he loves. Neil's commitment to his ranching lifestyle is remarkable, but Elaine and Derek Thompson show us that sometimes the real jackpot is keeping life as simple as possible. When Elaine and Derek Thompson won $3.5 million 25 years ago, their lives changed, but not in the way you might think. Unlike most lottery winners, they didn't rush to quit their jobs or buy luxury homes. Instead, they focused on family, community, and staying true to their roots. Elaine continued working at Marks & Spencer, not because she needed the money, but because she valued the routine and the relationships she'd built. Derek, too, kept his job at Motorola for several years after their win. Their decision to keep working wasn't about necessity. It was about maintaining a sense of normalcy. The Thompsons used their winnings to help those closest to them. They gave $1.2 million to Elaine's brother and helped their children purchase homes. They also invested in a holiday cottage resort in Dorset, which became a source of joy and income for the family. Beyond their personal investments, the Thompsons became known for their generosity. They organized trips for underprivileged children and supported various local charities. For Elaine and Derek, winning the lottery wasn't about extravagance. It was about creating a life that balanced financial stability, family, and giving back. While the Thompsons stayed grounded, Brad Duke set his sights on something far more ambitious, turning his millions into a billion-dollar fortune. Brad Duke was a 33-year-old fitness instructor earning a modest salary when his life took an extraordinary turn in 2005. He won a staggering $220 million Powerball jackpot. But unlike many winners who immediately splurge, Brad had a bigger plan in mind. His dream? To turn his millions into a billion-dollar fortune. At first, Brad didn't even realize how much he had won. After the clerk told him he was a winner, he didn't stay to learn the exact amount. Days later, he discovered he wasn't just a few $1,000s richer, he was a multimillionaire. But instead of succumbing to impulsive spending, he began strategizing. Brad assembled a team of financial advisors and lawyers, ensuring his newfound fortune was managed wisely. He invested heavily in real estate, oil, and gas, diversifying his portfolio with calculated risks. Brad didn't just want to maintain his wealth, he wanted it to grow. By 2016, Brad had increased his net worth by $100 million. Today, he is worth over $1 billion, fulfilling his ambitious goal. His journey from a fitness instructor to a billionaire is a testament to discipline and financial savvy, proving that a jackpot win doesn't have to end in bankruptcy. Brad's financial savvy is impressive, But Les Robbins shows us the power of using a lottery win to shape young lives and invest in the next generation. Les Robbins, a substitute teacher with a passion for working with kids, hit the jackpot in 1993 when he won $111 million in the Powerball lottery. At the time, it was the largest jackpot in U.S. history, and Les's life changed forever. But Les wasn't interested in flashy lifestyles or extravagant spending. Instead, he poured nearly all his winnings into a project close to his heart, a summer camp for kids. He named it Camp Win-A-Lot, a fitting title for a venture funded by his massive lottery win. Situated on 126 acres, the camp is a dreamland for children. It features swimming pools, a gymnasium, a mini golf course, and horseback riding trails. Aside from his investment in the camp, Les made only modest personal purchases, such as a Jeep. By 2000, he returned to substitute teaching simply because he loved it. For Les, his win wasn't about escaping his roots. It was about giving back to the community and creating a legacy that would benefit generations of children. Les created a haven for kids, but Yancey Hicks used his windfall to chase a lifelong dream and trade the counter for business ownership. In 2010, Yancey Hicks, a longtime employee at McDonald's, found his life transformed when he won $1 million in the Illinois State Lottery. For many, this amount might not seem like much compared to massive Powerball jackpots, but for Yancey, it was all he needed to pursue his lifelong dream of owning his own business. Yancey had always been ambitious, but financial constraints kept him working behind the counter at McDonald's. With his lottery win, he seized the opportunity to step into the world of entrepreneurship. Instead of splurging on luxury items, Yancey invested his winnings in a Subway franchise. Owning a Subway restaurant turned out to be a smart move. The business thrived, giving Yancey a steady source of income and transforming him into a successful entrepreneur. Yancey continued to reinvest his profits, further securing his financial future. Yancey's story proves that even a relatively modest lottery win can be life-changing when paired with smart decisions and hard work. By using his winnings to chase his dreams, Yancey transitioned from an employee to a business owner, creating a legacy of success for himself and his family. Yancey's Subway franchise laid the groundwork for his success, but Cynthia Stafford's Hollywood dreams proved that wealth and creativity can go hand in hand. Cynthia Stafford's life changed overnight in 2007 when she won a jaw-dropping $112 million in the California lottery. But unlike most winners who prioritize luxury, Cynthia saw her winnings as an opportunity to build a better future, not just for herself, but for her loved ones and her career. After claiming her jackpot, Cynthia prioritized her family. She shared a portion of her winnings with her brother and father, ensuring they were financially secure. But Cynthia didn't stop there. She had always dreamed of working in the entertainment industry, and her newfound fortune allowed her to take a leap of faith. Cynthia founded Queen Nefertari Productions, a film production company focused on creating stories that inspire and entertain. She also invested in real estate, which provided her with a steady source of income while she pursued her passion. Today, Cynthia is not only a millionaire but a respected businesswoman in Hollywood. Her current net worth is estimated at $10 million, proving that she used her winnings wisely. Her story is a testament to the power of vision and determination, showing that a lottery jackpot can be the starting point for a fulfilling and ambitious career. Cynthia Stafford turned her jackpot into a Hollywood dream, but Mark Brudenell shows how a modest win can secure a lasting business legacy. Mark Brudenell's $1.3 million win in 1997 may not seem like a record-breaking amount, but for Mark, it was the key to a brighter future. At the time, he was balancing two jobs as a chemical tanker driver and a bakery manager, working long hours to support his family. When Mark won the jackpot, he didn't rush into spending. Instead, he took time to consider how he could use the money to secure his family's future. 4 years after his win, Mark made the bold decision to invest in his own business. Alongside his wife, he founded a double glazing company specializing in windows and conservatories. The business proved to be a smart move. Over the years, it grew into a reliable source of income, providing stability and prosperity for the Brudenell family. Mark also treated himself and his family to a comfortable lifestyle, including a spacious home and a few nice cars, but he avoided excessive spending. Mark's story highlights the importance of balancing enjoyment with responsibility. By focusing on long-term investments, he was able to turn a relatively modest win into a lasting legacy for his family. Mark's smart investments paved the way for success, but Sue Herdman took a different route, turning her win into a life of farming freedom. Sue Herdman was a single mom and former hairdresser living in Hereford, England, when her life changed forever in 2010. She won $1.2 million in the lottery, a life-changing sum for someone struggling to make ends meet. Unlike many lottery winners who dive headfirst into a life of luxury, Sue decided to stay grounded. Rather than buying luxury cars or taking extravagant vacations, she used her winnings to pursue her passion, farming. She invested in livestock, property, and the tools she needed to start her dream life as a pig farmer. Before her win, Sue was no stranger to hard work. She carried that same work ethic into her new life. Today, her mornings begin at dawn and she spends her days knee-deep in mud, tending to her animals. Though her lifestyle may seem unglamorous to some, Sue wouldn't trade it for anything. Sue continues to live frugally, often hunting for bargains, despite her fortune. For her, wealth isn't about extravagance, it's about freedom. Her story is a reminder that winning the lottery doesn't have to mean champagne and caviar. It can mean the opportunity to live a life you truly love. Sue's journey to farming was one of passion and practicality, but Peter Lavery shows how a bus driver can turn his lottery fortune into a whiskey empire. Peter Lavery was working as a bus driver in Belfast, earning around $300 per paycheck when his life changed forever. In 1996, he won £10.2 million, around $12.5 million, in the UK National Lottery. With tax-free winnings, Peter had the opportunity to redefine his future, and he didn't waste it. Peter began by investing in his passion, whiskey. He partnered with a distillery to create the Danny Boy blended Irish whiskey, which quickly gained popularity. But Peter didn't stop there. He diversified his investments, purchasing multiple properties and eventually building a real estate portfolio of 30 homes. In addition to his business ventures, Peter became known for his generosity. He supported numerous charities and even founded one in honor of his parents, giving back to his community in meaningful ways. Over the years, Peter's smart investments have tripled his original fortune, cementing his status as one of Ireland's most successful lottery winners. While Peter has since stepped back from the whiskey business, his legacy of smart financial planning and community support continues to thrive. His story is a testament to the power of strategic investments and staying grounded, even in the face of unimaginable wealth.
Here are the lottery winners who ended up losing every penny and made the worst financial decisions. Find out the unbelievable way one sneaky winner tried hiding her fortune from her husband and lost all of it. 15. Billy Bob Harrell Jr. Imagine you're a humble stocker at Home Depot getting by on modest pay when suddenly you strike gold in the form of a $31 million Texas lottery jackpot. That was the life-changing event that befell Billy Bob Harrell Jr. back in 1997. You'd think he'd be set for life, right? Wrong! After his big win, Billy Bob did what most people consider the right things. He paid off debts. He bought a ranch for his family. He donated generously to his local church. He even purchased cars and houses for those in need. But once word got out that he was handing out checks like Santa Claus on Christmas Eve, the requests for money came pouring in. Neighbors, long-lost relatives, and new friends all wanted their share. If Billy Bob tried to draw the line, folks would guilt-trip him or promise to pay him back, promises they rarely kept. But that wasn't the only misstep. Billy Bob also signed a deal with a financial company that offered quick cash up front in exchange for the rest of his annual lottery payouts. The company locked him into terrible terms, slashing the real value of his winnings. His finances began unraveling, and the mounting stress took a toll on his marriage. He separated from his wife, and less than 2 years after hitting the jackpot, he passed away in what was ruled a self-deletion. His family was left heartbroken. Instead of a dream-come-true story, they were left with the harrowing reminder that sudden wealth can lead to even more problems if you're not prepared. 14. Sharon Tirabassi.
Next up is Sharon Tirabassi, a single mother from Hamilton, Ontario, who was on social assistance when she won 10.5 million Canadian dollars in 2004. Like so many of us would, she took that windfall and immediately upgraded her life. Big house? Check. Fancy cars? Check. Designer outfits? Absolutely. And of course, she lent money left and right to friends and family who needed a little help. The trouble? Most of those little loans were never repaid, and the lavish spending burned through her bank account quickly. Sharon didn't have a long-term financial plan or professional guidance. The result? She ended up back in a rental home, working part-time, taking the bus to get around, essentially returning to a lifestyle not that different from her pre-lotto days. Though she says she doesn't regret helping people, she wishes she'd done it more wisely. Sharon's story is a wake-up call for anyone who thinks that a sudden pile of cash is a permanent solution. Without a plan, that money can disappear in the blink of an eye. 13. Laura and Roger Griffiths. What happens when you and your spouse pick winning lottery numbers and take home £1.8 million, about $2.7 million? But you're not prepared for the financial challenges that come with it? Enter Laura and Roger Griffiths. They were living a comfortable middle-class life in the UK until luck smiled upon them in 2005. Roger quit his IT job and Laura left her work at a local salon. Then the shopping spree began. A £1 million barn conversion home, a Porsche, designer clothes, luxury vacations. But it didn't stop there. Roger poured large sums of money into trying to kickstart a music career. Think recording studios, band promotions, the works. Meanwhile, Laura launched her own salon business, which couldn't turn enough profit to offset their ballooning costs. When the economy took a downturn, the Griffiths found themselves struggling to pay the bills. Their dream home mysteriously caught fire, an event that only intensified the tension in their marriage. As the bank balance cratered, they started pointing fingers at one another, leading to a nasty split. Court battles, blame games, and a lost fortune. That's how this once happy couple's lottery story ended. 12. Evelyn Adams. Imagine winning the lottery not just once, but twice, within 4 months. That's what happened to Evelyn Adams, a convenience store clerk from New Jersey who won a total of $5.4 million in 1985 and 1986. Statisticians will tell you that the odds of such a feat are astronomically low, so you'd think she'd consider herself the luckiest woman alive. Well, if there's one thing these stories show, it's that luck can disappear overnight if you don't manage it. While Evelyn wisely chose to receive her winnings in annual installments of around $218,000, she made a few major miscalculations. She gave away huge chunks of money to friends and family, and we're talking handouts so large that her cushion shrank rapidly. She invested in dubious business ventures that all flopped. And most damning of all, she developed a casino gambling habit in Atlantic City. Those flashing lights and slot machines soon drained Evelyn's nest egg. By the end, she had less than she started with. In a bizarre twist of fate, the woman who beat the lottery odds twice ended up broke, demonstrating that a winning ticket doesn't automatically equal a lifetime of financial security. 11. Janet Leigh. In 1993, 52-year-old Janet Leigh, nope, not the famous actress from Psycho, went from wig shop employee to multimillionaire overnight when she won an $18 million lottery prize. Of course, she did what so many new millionaires do. She quit her job immediately, bought a $1 million home in St. Louis, donated large sums to charities and political events. She also relished her newfound celebrity status, going to fancy fundraisers and even snagging a photo op with President Bill Clinton. Life was good until she realized her lottery allowance of roughly $620,000 a year wasn't enough to sustain her lavish lifestyle. Car leases, home maintenance, and a penchant for going well beyond her annual windfall spelled disaster. Janet began taking out loans to keep up appearances. Eventually, the facade came crashing down and she filed for bankruptcy just 8 years after winning. From wig shop worker to bankrupt lottery celeb, Her story is a red flag for living beyond your means, even if you do have a multi-million-dollar cushion. 10. Denise Rossi. We've all heard the phrase for richer or poorer, right? Well, apparently Denise Rossi took that with a grain of salt. In 1996, she won a $1.3 million jackpot in the California lottery. Instead of telling her husband about it like any normal partner might, she did the sneakiest thing. She rushed to file for divorce, hoping to keep the entire pot to herself. But you can guess what happened next. During the divorce proceedings, Denise failed to disclose her winnings, a definite no-no under asset disclosure laws. Eventually, her ex-husband stumbled upon her little secret. Furious and feeling betrayed, he took her to court. A judge ruled that because of her attempt to conceal the asset, she forfeited all of it to her ex. Talk about irony. If she'd just been upfront or sought legal advice, she might have kept at least a portion of the money. But her cunning plan backfired, leaving her with absolutely nothing and a tarnished reputation. 9. Americo Lopez. Lottery pools at the office can be a blast until someone tries to keep the winnings all for themselves. In 2009, 6 construction co-workers in New Jersey chipped in for a lottery ticket and picked Americo Lopez to buy it. Lo and behold, the ticket was a winner for $38.5 million. But Americo decided he liked the idea of having those millions all to himself. He quietly claimed the prize, telling his colleagues that they hadn't won. He then quit his job under vague pretenses. However, when you show up with a brand new lifestyle, it's hard to keep your windfall a secret. Suspicious, his ex-co-workers took him to court, and the jury sided with them. Americo had to fork over nearly $2 million to each of his 5 colleagues. While he still walked away with around $14 million post-taxes, a tidy sum indeed, he'll always be remembered as the guy who tried to cheat his buddies. Moral of the story? Honesty is, usually, the best policy, especially when life-changing sums of money are in play. 8. Bud Post. William Post III. William Budd. Post III is a prime example of how hitting the jackpot can turn your life upside down. In 1988, he was broke enough to pawn a ring for $40 just to buy lottery tickets. Somehow, that meager investment brought him a $16.2 million win. Unfortunately, this marked the beginning of his troubles. Shortly after his big announcement, his ex-girlfriend took him to court, claiming she was the rightful owner of the winning ticket, successfully obtaining 1/3 of his winnings. If that wasn't bad enough, Bud's own brother tried to hire a hitman to take him out, hoping to snag another piece of the fortune. Under constant stress and feeling betrayed by everyone around him, Bud resorted to firing a shotgun at bill collectors who came knocking. He racked up legal fees, went through 6 divorces, and made a series of disastrous financial choices. Ultimately, he ended up on food stamps and died more than $1 million in debt. His short-lived life as a multimillionaire was overshadowed by heartbreak, legal battles, and mind-boggling family drama. 7. Alex Toth. If you've got only $25 left in your pocket, a lottery ticket might feel like a final desperate chance, but for Alex Toth, it worked. He hit the $13 million jackpot in Florida, and you'd think that would set him and his wife, Rhoda, up for life. For a brief moment, it did, until they discovered the magic of Las Vegas in the worst possible way. The pair famously blew through cash, living large in a $1,000 a night hotel room for 3 months straight, gambling at every table they could find. After that wild spree, they moved back to Florida and bought a trailer home. But the spending never quite stabilized. Family drama soon exploded. Rhoda accused her son of killing their dog and setting their car on fire once they cut off his money. Alex and Rhoda filed for bankruptcy, citing the extreme Vegas spending as the culprit. They also faced tax fraud charges for lying to the IRS, and Alex was repeatedly arrested for drug dealing. By the end, they were penniless, living off the kindness of relatives. Alex eventually passed away without a dime to his name. 6. Amanda Clayton. Winning $1 million isn't exactly up there with a $300 million Powerball, but it's still life-changing, especially if you're an unemployed single mother on welfare like Amanda Clayton was in 2011. She took home her $1 million check in Michigan, but the twist: she kept collecting her welfare checks. When a local reporter discovered her double-dipping, Amanda justified her actions by saying she still had bills to pay and was technically jobless. The public was furious. She was convicted of welfare fraud and placed on probation. Tragically, about a year later, Amanda died from a drug overdose. Her story shows that even a smaller lottery win can spiral out of control when people aren't ready for the sudden change. It's a stark cautionary tale that money alone can't solve deeper challenges such as addiction and poor financial habits. 5. David Lee Edwards. Ever daydream about your dream shopping list if you became a multimillionaire overnight? David Lee Edwards, who already had a checkered past and spent a good chunk of his life in jail, certainly had a wild imagination. In 2001, he won $27 million through the Powerball lottery in Kentucky. Instead of the slower annual installments, he chose the lump sum option, collecting a massive but reduced amount straight away. He sprang into action: a $1.6 million mansion, a second home for $600,000, a Lamborghini Diablo, a Dodge Viper, a private jet, and oh yes, a $35,000 Hummer golf cart. Because why not? But that's not all. David had a surprising fascination with medieval weaponry. He purchased 200 pieces of antique swords, suits of armor, and other battle gear. What that collection was for, no one knows, but it certainly didn't protect him from the real threat: drug addiction. David and his wife descended into hard substance abuse that sapped their entire fortune within 5 short years. They ended up living in a storage unit, and David died a few years after that, penniless, leaving his daughter with nothing. His life story is a painful lesson on how overspending and addiction can obliterate any amount of money in no time. 4. Martin Todt. Blowing through millions is one thing, but how about losing a winning ticket before you can even claim it? That's precisely what happened to Martin Todt in 2000. He purchased a lottery ticket and promptly forgot about it. Months later, he realized he'd matched the winning numbers that had appeared on TV. He tore apart his home looking for the lost ticket, but it never turned up. He contacted the lottery operator, hoping to prove his purchase by detailing where and when he got the ticket. But lottery rules are strict. He had 30 days to report a lost ticket, and he missed the window. The final verdict? No money. All that searching and the heartbreak from losing out on a life-altering sum took a serious toll on Martin and his marriage, ultimately ending in a split. Some nightmares come not from spending money incorrectly, but from never getting your hands on it in the first place. 3. Michael Carroll. At just 19 years old, Michael Carroll was a garbage collector in England when he discovered his scratch-off ticket was worth $15.8 million in 2002. Overnight, he traded in the trash for treasure. But with youth, inexperience, and a wild streak, he embarked on a spending spree that can best be described as total mayhem. He bought an enormous mansion, luxurious cars, and spent thousands partying with so-called friends. But he didn't stop there. Michael built a makeshift demolition derby in his backyard. Yes, he crashed and bashed expensive cars for the rush of it. The neighbors complained so often that the police set up a special Michael Carroll hotline. If that weren't enough, he developed a daily habit of partying that involved large amounts of illegal substances, which cost him thousands of dollars a day. Over time, those millions slipped right through his fingers. Michael ended up broke, returning to his old job as a garbage collector. For him, the journey from rags to riches and back again was fueled by pure recklessness and zero financial planning. 2. Andrew Jackson, Jack Whittaker Jr. A man bearing the name of an American president seemed destined to make headlines, and Andrew Jackson Jack Whittaker Jr. certainly did. In 2002, he snagged an eye-popping $314 million Powerball jackpot, the largest ever awarded to a single ticket at the time. Bonus twist: Jack was already wealthy, with a successful construction business under his belt. So you might expect him to be one of the few who could handle the windfall, right? Think again. Jack's biggest misstep was his bizarre habit of carrying around enormous amounts of cash in his car, hundreds of thousands of dollars at a time. That basically put a bullseye on his back for thieves. One night, someone scored a whopping $545,000 from his vehicle just from a single break-in. However, his biggest ongoing loss might have been casinos. Jack wrote checks that bounced to the tune of $1.5 million, and he donated large sums to charity that, in reality, he didn't quite have free and clear. Legal troubles piled on as people sued him, claiming he owed them money for various reasons. Within 4 short years, Jack had spent or lost nearly the entire $314 million, proving that you can't always out-earn reckless spending, even if you start off a multi-millionaire. 1. Callie Rogers. Finally, we come to Callie Rogers, who has a unique twist in the tragic lottery winner lineup. She was just 16 years old when she bagged nearly $3 million in 2003. Anyone would be overwhelmed by that kind of money at such a young age. Still, she promised to be responsible. Yet that vow soon crumbled under the weight of instant wealth and lack of guidance. Callie snapped up multiple properties, splurged on pricey cars, and lavished gifts on her boyfriends. Yes, as in multiple vehicles for them. Then came an obsession with cosmetic surgeries and a lifestyle of heavy partying. The combination of reckless generosity, minimal financial planning, and a growing taste for expensive nights out quickly devoured her fortune. In just a few years, Callie found herself with almost nothing left. She began working part-time as a cleaner to support her children. She insists she's happier now without the money, believing it brought her nothing but misery. While she may feel emotionally better, it's tough not to imagine that she might have enjoyed a small slice of that multi-million-dollar pie if she just managed it with more caution. Here's what's next. From teenage winners to already wealthy millionaires, these 15 cautionary tales prove that winning the lottery can be both a blessing and a curse. If there's one glaring lesson, it's that money management is crucial, no matter how big the windfall. A quick spree might bring short-term thrill, but the long-term fallout can be devastating if you're not ready to deal with sudden wealth. Would you? Buy a modest home and invest the rest? Help out friends and family carefully with a plan? Maybe set up a charitable foundation and do some good while preserving your capital. We see all kinds of possibilities, but these stories show that the real challenge isn't winning the lottery. It's keeping it. People come knocking on your door. Companies with once-in-a-lifetime financial deals hover like sharks, hoping to get a bite of your cash. Friends and family, even those you've never met, might want handouts. And lurking behind all that are temptations you never imagined, from gambling to overspending to shady business schemes. All in all, if you ever find yourself looking at those winning numbers on your ticket, remember, don't throw your phone across the room in shock. Call a lawyer, and then get a certified financial planner who can help you navigate the bumpy road ahead. The best approach is to keep calm, move slowly, and keep your circle tight. Don't let the hype push you into making bad decisions. Are there any other lottery horror stories you've come across? Or do you have your own foolproof plan in mind if you ever strike gold? Let us know in the comments below. We hope these stories have given you a few laughs, but more importantly, taught you some valuable money lessons. Thank you for watching and reading. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more cautionary tales, fascinating money stories, and everything in between. You never know, we might be featuring you next if you happen to win big tomorrow. Here's what's next. If you can't get enough of wild money dramas, check out our other stories about over-the-top financial failures and the surprising ways seemingly smart people end up going broke. Remember, it can happen to anyone. So let's learn from these mistakes before they become our own. African American who won lotteries. What if winning the lottery wasn't just about the money? What if it became the story of reinvention, triumph, or even tragedy? From life-changing jackpot wins to moments of heartbreaking betrayal, The journey of these African-American lottery winners is anything but ordinary. In this episode, we'll explore 5 jaw-dropping stories that prove how a single ticket can rewrite destinies, sometimes for the better and other times for the unimaginable. Stay tuned, because these tales of fortune and fallout will have you questioning, what would you do if luck struck your way? On July 22, 2003, Brian Woods and his wife were ordinary citizens residing in Texas. Brian, a diesel mechanic, was shocked when he realized he was a winner in a Texas lottery of $49 million. Selecting the grant option, they got $2.5 million immediately, while nearly $2 million yearly for the next 24 years. Initially, they were unaware they had won until one of them received a phone call from a family member who had also bought the ticket at the superstore. Brian immediately rushed online to double-check the numbers, and when he was sure they were equal, he was over the moon. "We are millionaires," he exclaimed. After winning this round, Brian resigns from his job, and so does Barbara, his wife, and agrees to invest in a venture. They bought the TP Motel, an old landmark in Texas, for $60,000, then invested around $1.6 million to refurbish it to make the motel into a standout tourist attraction that would offer a fun and once-in-a-lifetime experience to anyone who wants to spend the night in one of the motel's teepees. Aside from their business, the Woods also decided to contribute to society. They established a scholarship program for local students to realize their aspiration of giving back and providing more opportunities for others. It is a story of joy and giving that has brought them from humble means to the ability to achieve their own goals and help the people in their surroundings. This win got them a new purpose: entertainment, storytelling, and documentation of past events, as well as an investment that could help future generations. But Brian's story is just the beginning. What happens when a young single mother faces the same twist of fate, holding not just a winning ticket but the weight of a brighter future for her family? Marie Holmes, a young lady from Wilmington, North Carolina, was in a lucky moment at the age of 26 when she won an epic $188 million Powerball. Holmes, a single mother with 4 children, among them a disabled child who has cerebral palsy, became a worried woman after the news. She said she still did not fully take it in, which made her start her sentence with, "I don't think it has registered. I suppose I did not get it when it hit me, but I'm glad there is something I can bless my kids with that I did not have." Holmes never got in the habit of buying tickets to the lotteries, but this time round, it was going to be her lucky day. When she was sure that she was holding the winning numbers, she felt such a shock that she probably was going to have a heart attack. That smile, that joyous scream even surprised her children. She has a boy and 3 girls. When asked about her plans for the money, Holmes shared her strong values and priorities. "Initially, I am going to buy tithe because I would have nothing out of this without God. Then there's a plan of creating accounts for my kids," I say. Their dream was to own a home for her family and ensure that all her loved ones were financially set before anything else happened. The only person who could have joyfully had his heart whole for her was Holmes' uncle, who after all sold her the ticket to make such a vast difference in her life. Before this, Holmes had no job and barely managed to support herself. But with this win, she said she now feels relieved. "I don't need to use the word struggle again in my life and even my kids." Hence, Holmes accepts this new phase to keep her family fully rooted and appreciate what they have. "Yes, I'm okay with it. I will be ready to accept the change," she replied. "It's all for them. My children can go to college, my family can stop worrying. We survived." While Marie's story is one of hope and security, the next winner's life took a much darker turn. What happens when fortune brings not just wealth, but unimaginable danger? Meet Abraham Shakespeare. The story of Abraham Shakespeare began to change in 2006 when he became a lottery jackpot winner by receiving $31 million. He took the money and ran some of the numbers through taxation to get a take-home total of $17 million. Not bad for at least another shot at the title. Several people described him as generous to a fault and a kind man with friends and family. In fact, Shakespeare's life had been full of challenges and interferences right after he won in the play. He was a worker at one company. His colleagues suspected him of stealing the winning ticket, and the case was taken to court. Luckily for Shakespeare, the judge said that he could keep the amount of money that he won. But this newfound wealth came with problems that developed almost instantaneously. Shakespeare finally encountered Doris D.D. Moore, who claimed she wanted to assist him in controlling his spending. However, instead of providing him with what he needed, she financially exploited him by taking all his money to enrich herself instead of gradually increasing his cash. Shakespeare's family reported him missing in 2009. Unfortunately, in January 2010, his lifeless body was uncovered from the ground and buried under a concrete slab in the compound of one of Moore's associates. For his murder, Moore was put to trial in 2012 and was convicted. Today, the lady is in prison, serving a life term for her actions. Abraham Shakespeare's life is an example of how the dream of winning a lot of money often becomes an absolute nightmare because of deception and tragedy. Tragic as Abraham's story is, not all lottery wins lead to heartbreak. Sometimes they bring unthinkable joy and stability to a family. Let's travel to Georgia, where Ira Curry became a record-breaking millionaire. Super great news for the people of Georgia. The winner of the record-breaking Mega Millions pool's $636 million jackpot is Ira Curry, a Stone Mountain, Georgia resident. And that makes it possible for her to have banked $133 million and be officially on the list of the wealthiest women on Earth. Curry was among the two persons who won the jackpot in a drawing conducted on December 17, 2013. Hence, after taxes, she had some $87 million to take back home. A vast fortune for her and her family. She said that when she first felt she had won, she thought it was a mistake. You know, she had bought the ticket on a through after dreaming of doing so the night before. But when realization dawned, she claimed she was happy, saying, "I just felt blessed." According to Curry, she will effectively invest the money and clear all her debts to set her children well in school. She also plans to help people back. That is why they too should be lucky sometimes, and she thought about receiving such money. Her story disproves the analysis of how dreams are romantic hopes that are difficult, if not impossible, to achieve, and can positively change people's lives. And speaking of life-changing moments, what if a simple birthday gift became the ticket to unimaginable fortune? That's exactly what happened to young Caden in California. In March 2021, a boy in California had a chance to become a millionaire, and he managed to do that as he won a lottery scratch-off ticket worth $1 million. To make this story even more interesting, Caden's mother just gave him the ticket as a birthday present. "I was shocked. No, I did not expect to win anything," said Caden, who also laughed heartily. At first, when he scratched off the ticket, he thought he had made a mistake of some sort. When he came to know it was real, he was just very happy and eager to share this message with his family. Thank God the family was joyful to receive the news. This victory happened at the right time for Caden, who had thought about college but was unsure how he would pay for it. Thanks to this newfound wealth, he is now in a position to make plans for the future without worrying about how he will make ends meet. Besides, he plans to raise money for his education and contribute to the welfare of his family at large. "Thank you so much," Caden claimed. "I can feel free to breathe." His story has that faint message of the American dream. Things are not as they seem, but indeed dreams do come true. Finally, persistence pays off. Meet Mary Fulkerson, a seasoned player from Michigan who proved that sometimes consistency is the key to hitting the jackpot. Mary Fulkerson from Michigan is one such example. She played the lottery for many years and won $1.8 million. This seasoned player had been attempting her hand in the lottery since she was 18. So she reached for this life-altering shot due to her perseverance and playing the right shots regularly. Having checked her ticket at the store, Fulkerson initially imagined that she had confused the numbers on the ticket. As the clerk signaled that she had won the bet, she fully understood that she had lost the bet. On the remembered plan, she claimed, "Every time I could hardly breathe, her excitement was getting the best part of her chest." Some of the main things Fulkerson would like to do include taking her family on trips, saving some money for the grandchildren, and owning a new home. "This money is a godsend to me and my family," she claimed, wiping scornful tears from her cheeks. "We have seen that the stories of people who rely on luck show that winning a lottery means getting a new chance in one's life. Here are some great people who show not only that they were lucky enough to hit the jackpot, but also decided to change the lives of the people around them for the better." The winner stories prove that it is not all about the cash or the buck, but about the difference you can make. I hope that these and many other inspiring stories will help you believe in dreams, risks, and chances and never leave fate to luck. Until next time, believe in the possibilities.